Welcome back. As always, it is your host, your friend, your pal, your mate, Arachnid Soul, coming to you today with something a little bit different. It's something we haven't done in a long time. We're going to be speaking politics. We're going to be speaking truth to power here tonight, if you will. But before we get into the shank of the evening, please do your boy a favor, smash that thumbs up, like, and subscribe. I would highly appreciate it. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers right around the corner. Last check, we only need 18 more. So let's accomplish this goal and then we can move on. It's 2024. It's election season again. Now, a lot of people don't know this about me, but I spent years in politics. I worked on 2 different political campaigns. I've been a political fundraiser. I have done a million things. I fought to keep fracking out of New York State. I fought against some nonsense in New York State that I won't get into, but it helped a lot of people out. And I thought, let me give my 2 cents on Kamala Harris and Donald Trump running for president of the United States against one another, especially since in my entire life I have a 100% accurate guessing record on who's going to be elected president. I have never, ever been wrong. If I'm wrong this time, this will be the first time. It will be historic. But not only am I going to tell you who's going to win, I'm going to tell you exactly how it's going to play out. I'm posting this video in August of 2024. The election is November of 2024. So you can come back, you can listen to this later. If you're listening to this after the election, holy cow, the young lad called it. How is this thing going to play out? Joe Biden decides that for whatever reason, he's not going to run for a second term. Now, there's a lot of speculation that Joe Biden, much like Ronald Reagan, has serious mental decline. Call it dementia, call it Alzheimer's. I really don't know what the exact classification of what's going on with Joe Biden is, but it has been very apparent even before Joe Biden ran for president. People brought this up. People said Joe Biden is not mentally there, does not have the mental wherewithal to be president. Now, for those people, the response was, oh, you're bad people, you're horrible. How can you say this about him? And we see what happened. And I actually remember 4 years ago when Joe Biden became president, and I thought, they really wanted Kamala. The Democrats told you, go look any of this stuff up. Go look any of the stuff up that I'm telling you. The Democrats in 2016 wanted Kamala to be their nominee in 2020. They ran with Kamala. They went with Kamala. Kamala did not win a single delegate in any of the 2020 primaries. This woman could not win anything. So Joe Biden got in, and Joe Biden was still having half his ass handed to him by Senator Bernie Sanders. Now, the Democrats, if you read Donna Brazil's book, if you read a lot of things that whistleblowers of the Democrats have said, the Democrats in 2016 and 2020 did not want Bernie Sanders because Bernie Sanders was going to upset the apple cart. You're only a member of the team, Bernie, if you are funded like the rest of the Democrats and Republicans by the big banks, Wall Street, and the large multinational corporations. And shout out also to the private prisons, big oil, big fracking, and the military-industrial complex. Bernie was too honest of a man. They could not have him in office. Again, the United States has 2 major political parties, the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. In actuality, this is one giant political party owned and run by the same banks, the same Wall Street, and the same multinational corporations. Come on, you already know that. Please don't forget that. If you're sitting at home, you're like, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about. Please remember it. Please don't just say it and then go out and get into a conversation with somebody, Republican versus Democrat. Anyway, in 2020, Joe Biden was not doing too well. Like I said, Bernie was having a great showing. Bernie was raising more money than anybody who's ever run for office in the history of this country for any office at any time, Bernie Sanders. And these were small donations, which meant these people weren't tapped out. They could give again and again and again. These were working class people. Bernie Sanders, also a person, they won't tell you this, please look this up, in his state of Vermont, gets 25% of the Republican vote, despite the fact that he caucuses as and with the Democrats. Polling showed that Bernie Sanders was the only person who was going to be able to defeat Donald Trump in 2016. Polls came out in May of that year that showed Hillary Clinton had no chance against Donald Trump. The reason Hillary Clinton had no chance against Donald Trump, and I'm going to tell you again, and the news media isn't going to tell you this until the day after election, and then this will be half of the conversation. Please do not get lost in the sauce of the United States. When it comes to electing a president, this is not a democracy. This is not a democracy. We don't live in a democracy. We live in an oligarchy. Please look that up. But not living in a democracy means that the president is not chosen by the popular vote. The president is not elected based on who gets the most votes. The president is elected on the Electoral College. Hillary Clinton had 3 million more votes. As a matter of fact, Donald Trump, after he got elected via the Electoral College, despite losing by 3 million votes, said, well, maybe there was some shakiness in Arizona and a couple of states, and maybe we need to go and investigate and recount. And they did, and what they figured out was that Hillary actually beat Trump by even more votes than they initially anticipated. Hillary Clinton would have been a horrible president because she's owned by the big banks, Wall Street. You know the whole spiel. Stop it. Hillary doesn't work for you. You know Hillary doesn't work with you. Hillary never said, I'm with you. Hillary wanted you to say about her, I'm with her. That's all you need to know. Which direction did that arrow point on her signs? To the right or to the left? I rest my case. I'm halfway joking about that one, but everything else I'm spot on. So what were the Democrats going to do? We can't go to the convention. We can't have a split convention. We can't show our cards. We damn sure don't want Nina Turner there again because we kicked her off stage and said, you're not going to introduce Bernie 2016 at the DNC. Now it's 2020. We don't want the ruckus again. Nina Turner, a true American patriot, a great woman, a woman who they don't want to let on TV or near the White House. Please look up Nina Turner. I'm giving you some homework tonight. So the plan was set. How can we get Joe Biden this primary nomination over Bernie Sanders? What do we have to do? And Obama made the call. Obama said, you know what? Pete Buttigieg and Amy Klobuchar and all these people running for president on the Democratic side in the primary, none of them are going to be able to beat Bernie. And Joe Biden's not going to be able to beat Bernie by enough that we won't have a split convention. So Obama made the call and called Mayor Pete and called Amy Klobuchar and called whoever else they had, Elizabeth Warren, I can't even remember everybody who was running, and said, listen, if you all drop out and put your support behind Joe Biden, you're all going to get comfy kickbacks and jobs in the White House when Joe Biden gets in there, and collectively we can all beat Bernie Sanders, but not one of us can beat him by the convention. This is not conspiracy. This is absolutely true. Please look any of this up. I know I'm speaking truth to power here. I'm saying things about people who you might like. Please don't get personally offended. These people don't give a damn about you. Why are you standing up for them? These are rich people owned by Wall Street and special interest groups and funded by super PACs. And the same people who own these politicians own the American media. I hope people know this by now. American TV news media is basically controlled by 8 entities. Bill Clinton, back in the day, signed the Transcommunication Act in the 1990s, which allowed the 50 different media conglomerates to consolidate into less than 10. And they all have the same agenda. Fox News and CNN have the same agenda. They set a narrative, they distract you, they divide you, they don't want you grouping up, they don't want a revolution, they don't want you paying attention to the fact that the people who are screwing you over are the richest 0.1% of money hoarders in this country, the oligarchs who own you, own the politicians, the news media, the airwaves, and this country. And instead, they want you to feel all your problems are caused by the people in this country who have the least amount of power, talking about immigrants, black people, Jewish people, women who are actually a majority but treated as minority because, yes, there is a patriarchy. And it's a damn shame that when women try to speak up and assert themselves, all of a sudden it's a problem. These women are your sisters. These women are you. These women are your mothers. You care more about these corporate shills that you see on television than you do your next door neighbor. That's a problem. Change that. Stop it. But I know why you're all here. Y'all want to know what my prediction is for 2024. As you can tell, I could go on for 2 hours. There were two goals that the Democratic establishment had, and you have to understand, the Democrats are Republicans. These corporate Democrats are Republicans. These are not Democrats. These are paid actors. And I don't mean actor as in person, I mean actor as in Hollywood. These are paid actors to play a role. It was 2016, and the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, said they had two big goals. Not to defeat Donald Trump, not to defeat Republicans or anything like that, not to stand up for working class families. No. Their two goals: to destroy Bernie Sanders and destroy all talk in the United States, mostly amongst Democrats, of bringing about a single-payer Medicare for all system, which would cover every American from birth to death with cheaper healthcare. Not free healthcare, cheaper healthcare. Any economist will tell you they've looked at it, and the plan to expand that would actually cost us all half the price. The United States spends more money per capita on healthcare than any other country in the world, and our results are not great. But I have looked in previous years, and I know the life expectancy is going down in this country. We'll make a whole video on that. I will say more controversial stuff, and I will tell you why it's going down and how to protect yourself. And guess what? Has nothing to do with the COVID vaccines. It has been going down since before COVID. It's been going down since the 2010s. I hate to say it because I don't like Kamala and I don't like Donald. We can talk about the horrible record that Kamala has, arresting black people to make a name for herself in California for small amounts of cannabis, would not go after Steve Mnuchin of One World Bank, despite the fact that her office told her to. We can also talk about Donald Trump. He's a horrible human being. He's a racist human being. Kamala's a racist human being, despite the fact that Kamala will tell you, how can I be racist? I'm a woman of color. I'm a black woman. How can I be racist? I'm half Asian. I'm half Indian. I'm not saying she's half and half. I'm saying she's half and half. Indian and Asian are the same thing. Horrible track record. Kamala, full of platitudes, doesn't like to answer any questions. She will either giggle or defer to some nonsense to avoid actually answering the question. Then you got Trump. He'll answer the question by just making stuff up. Horrible people. These are the horrible choices you have right now. And I remember telling people this is exactly what was going to happen. That Donald Trump was going to come back. Donald Trump was going to run for office again. And guess what? I hate this. I'd hate it either way. Donald Trump will return to the White House. That is my prediction. And I also predict that Donald Trump will be put into the White House via the Electoral College. And Kamala will hand him his you-know-what in the popular vote. But again, this isn't really a democracy, ladies and gentlemen. And the day after You're going to see Fox News, you're going to see CNN, you're going to see MSNBC, you're going to see all of these outlets talking about the Electoral College. And I can tell you that you can brace yourself now, but people are going to be shocked the day after Trump gets back into office. Now, the good news, the only silver lining of Trump getting back into office, and before we get to that, you have to realize again, these people are paid by the same people to carry out the same tasks. Do you understand this? They're working for the big banks and the super uber wealthy in this country, both of them, Kamala and Trump. And these are the people funding their campaigns. Why would they get into office and not do the bidding of their actual bosses? Oh, you sent Kamala $7. That's nice. Kamala went out and had a latte. No, she didn't spend the money on that, but it didn't do anything. Keep your money. You know, you want to send money to politicians, send money to politicians who are solely funded by the people, the select few, the Bernie Sanders, the Shama Suwants, the Zephyr Teachouts. Drop in some knowledge here. Go on Google, go on Bing, research any of this, look any of this up. I know this is, counter to so much of what you've heard in discourse with friends and family and next door neighbors and what they say on TV. I haven't even monetized this video. It's not even monetized. I'm not even making money for this. I'm just trying to tell you some stuff that either you don't know or maybe you used to know, and it's just nice to hear somebody say some of this again. When Donald Trump gets back into office, given the fact that his job is to do exactly what Kamala Harris would do, Kamala Harris will be no better for you than Donald Trump will be. They'll both be horrible. Under Donald Trump, under Kamala Harris, here's a list of things that you won't get off the top of my head, and I'm sure when I stop recording, I'm going to remember 20 more. You will not be getting universal health care that costs you half the price. You will not be getting a president who's going to fight for either UBI or at very least a national living wage. That's not going to happen. Neither of these people is really going to fight for you for free college tuition at public universities. Neither one of these people is going to try to put millions of people back to work by rebuilding the country's crumbling infrastructure. Neither one of these people look at war as a last resort. They look at it as a first resort because in part they're bought and paid for the war machine, the military-industrial complex. There's a lot of stuff you're not going to get with these people. A lot of stuff that not only if you're a Republican or a Democrat or an independent want, a lot of stuff you're not going to get no matter what. No matter who you are, what you stand for, Libertarian, Green Party, whatever you want, you're not going to get with these two. Who will achieve a little bit of a come up with these two will be the big banks, will be Wall Street, and will be the richest of rich Americans. That's it. Neither one of these people is going to fight BlackRock and how they're buying up all the houses. And if you're young right now, how you'll probably never be able to afford a house in this country. Those are not the problems. They're going to give you nonsense problems. They're going to tell you all those issues I just talked about, all the issues in your life are because immigrants are coming into this country. Because there's black people in this country. Because there's Muslim people in this country. Because there's Jewish people in this country. Those are the people who make up this country. That's what this country is. This is a country of immigrants. We're going to get into that on another day. Let's get to the silver lining of Donald Trump becoming president. I know what a horrible sentence that is. And then we'll get out of here. The only silver lining of Donald Trump becoming president, and really to accept this, you need not look any farther than the 4 years that Joe Biden spent as president in the White House. Anybody remember a sign that said when Donald Trump got elected, had Hillary won, I'd be out drinking coffee, as opposed to being out protesting? That's very true. There's a lot of people who, for some reason, when the Democrat gets in office, they think, oh, this is a person who cares about me. I can go home. I can, ignore things. You saw what happened to women's reproductive health during the Biden administration. You saw what happened to inflation during the Biden administration. I hate to tell you, Joe Biden's a horrible guy, but these are long-standing policies that Republican or Democrat could have been overturned. Donald Trump becoming president. What is the silver lining? And then we're out. The silver lining is when Donald Trump becomes president, as opposed to the entire 4 years that Joe Biden was president, as opposed to the imaginary 4 years where Kamala, who will never be president, people will take to the street. People will protest, because the best thing about Donald Trump is Donald Trump puts a very ugly face on the long-standing policies of the United States. People will be out protesting for health care. People will be out protesting for whatever they want. And hopefully there's some movement. It will not come from the top down. It will come from the bottom up. Speak truth to power. It has been your boy, Arachnid Soul. Please do some homework. Please look any of this up. Please share this video and educate some people. Educate yourself if you're not. Like, comment, subscribe. And I will catch you, my friend, later.